I'm going to have an intellectual discussion with you about grip and grip pressure. And in the early stages, when you just start learning how to interact with a firearm properly, people will give you a specific grip or tell you to put a specific pressure on the gun, and you kind of test and evaluate that, and you might make it work. The problem is that most people focus on grip pressure as the primary way to mitigate recoil, and they pay less attention to the structure of your grip. So let's look at a few things really quick. Let's take a look at me interacting with this gun with a bad grip structure, but I'm importing a lot of grip pressure. So I see this a lot, thumb down, kind of don't own the gun, but I'm gonna put a lot of pressure on this gun, and I want you to watch this gun respond with this much pressure. So I have a pretty high degree of recoil management still. I can get decent split times out of the gun without structure by importing all that grip pressure. So based on that test, you can see that I can maintain a pretty decent degree of recoil management if I import a lot of pressure. The problem is that pressure diminishes dexterity. So if my end goal is to really run that trigger at a high rate of speed, if I want to import all this pressure from my primary hand and my support hand, could that affect my overall dexterity with my trigger finger? And the answer is yes. So I think a better solution is building a better grip structure and begin to test and evaluate how much pressure is necessary to control or manage that recoil to the extent that the gun is moving in its predictive path and returning back to the same place it started. Number one, if your wrist is not able to lock out, it doesn't matter what grip pressures you import into the equation, the gun is going to move. So we first need to address the weakest link, which is the wrist, and the next is just ownership over the frame of the gun. So I want to own as much of this gun as I can. Now that we've decided on a good structure for our grip, all that's left is importing which grip pressure or how much grip pressure I want to apply on the handgun and with which hand. Interestingly enough, I believe that teaching someone how to interact with their gun as far as grip structure is very teachable. I do not think that grip pressure is something that is teachable. I think that is more discoverable. The student has to discover what grip inputs work for their gun, for their hand size, for the caliber they're shooting, and that may change from gun to gun. So grip pressure is something that is discoverable. You're going to have to play with it. And the notion that it's 60-40 or 70-30 or 80-20, I mean, maybe it is, but how do you measure that? There's just no way for you to quantify what percentage is doing what until you figure it out on your own. I will say that the support hand should be providing more grip pressure than the primary hand for the sole purpose that you're maintaining an additional amount of trigger dexterity from your primary hand. But again, something you got to work out. So importing all of these together, I've got structure, I've got grip pressure, I'm locking my wrist. Let's look at the way this gun responds.